Hi, Monique.
Hi, Paul. Hi, everybody.
How is Canada this evening?
Canada is terribly hot.
Is it really?
Terribly hot. We're talking over 30, 31,
Oh, wow.
32, but it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And it's a perfect day for interviewing the guest that we have today because I'm really excited.
I know there's a lot of excitement, isn't there? I can feel it bubbling. Absolutely. We've been so lucky. And if you're watching this, guys, on Catch Up, we want to say hello to you guys and welcome. And thank you for watching on Catch Up. We really appreciate it. We're just getting, our guests are just getting, I don't know, just so more interesting. I'm so excited about tonight's guest. Shall we just get straight on in there, Monique?
I think we should because we have questions. We have questions. The audience has questions.
We do. And unfortunately, we've only got Coral for an hour. So we need to make sure we get as much information out of Coral as we can.
Let's.
I know a lot of people will know, those of you that are in the Spiritual Talk group, but we know that we have the wonderful Coral Ryder as our guest this evening. And Coral is a spirit portrait and psychic artist. That's a mouthful, isn't it, if you've had a beer or two? She's also a holder of the CSNU in demonstration. I don't know if you know this, Monique, but she was also the first person to be awarded that for demonstrating her psychic art. So let's bring Coral in. Good evening, Coral.
Good evening, Paul. Good evening, Monique. Lovely to be here
Coral.
with you.
Oh, it's so wonderful to have you.
Yeah, we're so excited, aren't we?
Yeah.
So excited.
Especially as a fellow spirit artist. It's actually rare. Spirit art is quite rare, I find. Spirit portrait art in particular.
Yeah. We're few and far between is how I phrase it.
That's right.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Yeah. But and I love to it's very rare. So the chance to be able to talk to you is just amazing. So one of the first things I want to ask is, and I'm going to start asking.
Yeah, I'm just going to go and make the tea. Okay.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I want to know is because I do ask this. I have known other spirit artists, but one of the questions is: have you always been how did you become a spirit artist? What is your background? Were you an artist to start with? Were you a medium to start with? How did it happen?
Okay, I was born in a town called Billingham in the northeast of England. My mother was always a medium. I was born into it. So it was normal within our household. My mum then went on. She was a member of the Spiritualist National Union. She then became a minister of the Spiritualist National Union, as is still currently a minister of the Spiritualist National Union. So I was raised with mediumship being absolutely normal. I was raised to have no fear in the spirit world whatsoever. Any experiences that I had as a child, if I didn't understand them, because don't get me wrong, I had experiences and sometimes they unnerved me. I just go running, Mum, what does this mean? But she would always explain everything in a very down-to-earth and simple manner. So mediumship was normal. My father, he didn't believe in it at the time. He used to jokingly tease her and call her, say, "Oh, you're off to the spookies this evening, are you?" And tease her for it. And then he himself ended up coming into the movement and ended up being a spiritual healer. He was a group healer of the Spiritualist National Union. We've got a family full of mediums, so it was normal. But I put my abilities on the back burner. It started frightening my friends when I was young.
Okay.
I started having predictive dreams. So I would have a dream and within 2 weeks it would take place. I started finishing their sentences. I would say something and then it would happen. So it started to unnerve them. But I wasn't drawing spirit portraits or anything like that. Do you know the word doodle in Canada?
Yes.
Yeah. Doodle. So I used to sometimes doodle as a child. I was trying to copy my older brother, Ralph, because he was an artist.
Okay.
Absolute. He was so talented. He could draw what he saw. I can't. The total contrast in that, but he ended up having to stop what he was doing within his mediumship and his spirit side of life now. So I'm walking in his shadow, so to speak.
That's lovely.
It was very, very sad. Back then, more chest well.
Oh,
Oh,
We've got a thunderstorm here. I'm hoping that hasn't affected the internet. Coral's just frozen. So,
you seem to be perfectly fine, but Coral is frozen there.
Yeah, I'm fine in my end, but I don't know whether it's something to do with StreamYard. So apologies, everyone who's watching. Poor old Coral has frozen. She might, if you can hear us, Coral, you might have to come out of the link to come back in again.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, yeah, I'm so excited as well because we've got some work. Hopefully, if we get time, we can show some work of Coral working, and she can talk us through it as well.
Right.
So we're just waiting to see if she can come back in. We might have to. Let me just try dropping. Oh, there you go. She's dropped out. See if she'll come back. Yeah, she's gone. So she'll come back in a sec. So do you know any good tunes? Oh, here she comes. She's back.
We've been having thunderstorms here, so
yeah.
that interfering with the connection. So I apologise.
You almost stopped me from playing the spoons. Yeah, no, it's good. You saved us from playing the spoons then as they're entertaining, waiting for you to come back. So sorry we got interrupted. Carry on, please,
That's
Coral.
okay. So yeah, I put my abilities on the back burner, and then I came back into it for developing my abilities when I was in my 30s, and it was when my father-in-law was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And I just needed the comfort of going into the church. And it was strange because I'd been married in there, my children are named in there. But the moment I stepped through the door, it was like I'd come home. And I got going each week, and I was just drawing huge amounts of comfort from it. Just sitting in the audience and seeing other people get messages, and it was just reaffirming, yes, he's definitely going to the spirit world. You know, there is life after death. I was witnessing people getting wonderful bits of evidence of survival, and it was like, it gave me great comfort. And my mum said, you keep coming, why don't you come to the development group? And it's like, go on then, as you do. So I went, and week after week, I watched people in the Lyceum developing their abilities, and I'm going, wow, that's amazing. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. And my mum said, you got anything? Nope. Got anything? Nope. And then one week it was as if somebody flicked a switch back on inside of my head, and I saw an image. So I described what it was that I was seeing. And then a couple of weeks later, I started hearing things again. A couple of weeks after that, I started feeling things again. And then it was the 27th of May, 2005. I can remember the date.
Remember the date.
I was at home. I was playing on my PlayStation. I was playing Metal Gear Solid. I can still remember the screen in front of me, what I was doing on the screen when I heard as clear as day, put it down, paper, pencil, draw. And those are the exact words I heard. And it was just that clear. And it was like, whoa, okay, I'll go do that then. So I found a quiet spot, and I sat with pencil poised on paper, waiting for something to happen. And then the best way I can describe this is, you know, when you were a child and you would run down a hill and your legs were going too fast for your body and your body was going too fast for your legs, and you feel as though you're just going to trip up any second. My hand was moving that quickly. I felt like I couldn't keep up with it. But then I felt a sense of frustration because all it was doing circles. It was just swirling round and round and round. And I thought, for some reason, you're left-handed, aren't you? And the moment I thought it, thank you, pencil went to my left hand and I drew my first portrait. It wasn't a very good portrait, but it was a face. So I was excited about it. But my mother's reaction was, I wouldn't want to bump into her in a dark alley because the eyes were all dark because it swirls going around to get the shape of the eyes and everything. And so that's how it started. It was a strange feeling. And for 3 days, once I'd give permission for this to start, my hands kept twitching. And I kept hearing the words draw, just over and over again being repeated to me. And this is why I have to emphasize, there is no such thing as possession as far as I'm concerned, but there is obsession. Where you're so obsessed with keeping the link running. Just keep it perpetual 24/7, and you can't live your life like that. When you're driving a car, you should be concentrating on driving the car, not on communicating with spirit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, the moment my mother was away teaching for the International Spiritualist Federation at the time, she was in Slovenia at the time, and so I couldn't ask her because she was away, and I had this weird thing going on with me. It was like these two fingers on both hands just kept twitching as if somebody was pulling on the ligament. When my mum got back, I just went, Mum, this is happening. What's going on? She says, the problem, Coral, is you. I went, what do you mean? She says, you've given permission for this to start. She says, but you're not shutting down when you're finished. She says, you're leaving it open 24/7. She says, you have to sleep. You don't expect your friends to interrupt you at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning unless there's an emergency. She says, don't let spirit do it to you either. So my mum's suggestion, because she is very wise, was to make an appointment with the spirit world. So I did. I said, okay, when the children are in bed asleep and I'm settled, 10 o'clock every night, my hand's yours. So I did 10 o'clock every night, and I did that for 2.5 years. Didn't matter whether it was birthdays, New Year, Christmas. At 10 o'clock, you'd find me in a corner somewhere, letting my hand be used for drawing. But I drew everything left-handed for about 3 months.
Okay, and you're right-handed, and you're actually right-handed.
And they were all signed in a fountain pen with my left hand as well, and the name of the lady who works with me.
Interesting.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was very, very strange. They were totally disproportionate because I didn't know anything about the proportions of the face. And you'll both know from within mediumship, whatever you've learned in life, whatever you've witnessed in life, spirit can utilize that information and bring it back out again. So because I was totally oblivious to what proportions of the face or anything, the pictures weren't brilliant to begin with. I've also had a gentleman, his name was Alan Law. He's in spirit side of life now. But first demonstration I ever did was at the International Spiritualist Federation. I did first demonstration I did for them. He came up to me afterwards and he says, do you realise the lady who's working with you, her name is Margaret? And I went, well, that fits in with her I've been given. I was given Marge, that's short for Margaret. And he turned around and says, you do know she drew flowers in life, not people. And that made absolute sense because the second picture I drew with her was a flower. So
and still with your left hand. Still with your left hand.
All done with my left hand, yeah.
All done with left hand.
Yeah, so for about, I'd say 2.5 to 3 months, everything was drawn with my left hand. But it would take me between 1 to 2 hours to draw every single picture.
Yeah.
Then slowly they were getting better and more in proportion, and people started to recognise little bits within the picture, not the full picture, just little bits. It was an eye to begin with, maybe a nose, the ears, because the ears are quite unique. So it was little parts of the picture that was being recognised to begin with. And then where did I get to with that one? Yeah, little part of it being recognised. And then my mother kindly pointed out, she says, with the world of spirit, there's intelligence. There has to be a reason, a purpose of why you've been drawn towards this. Why are they getting you to do this? And she says, the average message on a platform is 3.5 to 7.5 minutes in length. She says, you can't demonstrate what you're doing from a platform if it's taking you 1 hour to 2 hours to draw every picture. She says, so you're going to have to speed the process up. Yes. So I sent the thought to the lady who works with me, and I just turned around and says, what do you want to do? She says, it's fine. I know what I'm doing in your head now to get your arms doing what I want them to do. Go back to your right hand for speed. So I went back to my right hand, and the pictures went from anywhere from 1 to 2 hours to anywhere between 2 minutes and 15 minutes.
Fascinating. You know that I remember one instructor from Arthur Findlay College. I talked to him over the phone, Alan Stuttle. He mentioned, yes, lovely man. I was to go last year for a week to Arthur Findlay, but because of the pandemic, I had to cancel that. Yeah. But he did suggest over the phone, try drawing with your left. He suggested drawing with my left hand. So there's maybe a spirit did that for a reason. I would presume that. Do you think that you're giving more power to spirit as far as the control of the drawing when you're using your left hand as opposed to your right?
I don't really know, to be honest. I just know that when it started, I felt frustration with the right hand. That's why I just sent the thought out to left-handed. And that's why I went to my left hand. The other thing she said to me as well, because I sat there with my eyes closed, pencil poised on paper. The second thing she said to me, because when you open your eyes so I can see what I'm doing, please.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's one of the things of when I'm working with her, there's a blend between the two of us where she's seeing the paper through my eyes. And then she moves.
So you were drawing with your eyes closed?
I tried, yeah. So she said, can you open your eyes so I can see what I'm doing, please?
Isn't that fascinating? Wow.
I've tried several times drawing with my eyes closed. And only once would I say I've done a really good portrait with my eyes shut.
Okay.
And that was I'd flicked all the lights out and it was like sat with my eyes closed and in the dark trying to draw. And there's only once I've managed to draw something that I would say is a reasonable portrait. But I'm too curious. I'm too nosy. I can't let go enough that way. So it's control, but it's a light overshadowing. I don't go into a deep state of trance with it. I keep myself at a certain level because I've got to be able to get the communication and the drawing at the same time.
Well, that's interesting because yes, I understand that completely. So you are all your senses are being used as you draw. Is that correct? From spirit, you're feeling, you're seeing, you're hearing.
Well, if I'm given a communication from the spirit world, I'm predominantly clairsentient, but I will have access to hearing and seeing and knowing. Where I'm predominantly, I feel most of my information. But if I'm given communication without the drawing, I will see images. I might even see what the face of the person. But if I start drawing, if I'm doing spirit art, I don't see the face of the person I'm drawing, because if I do, I'll ruin the picture trying to make it look like them.
Yes, I understand that.
Link back, trying to copy what it is I'm seeing, and I'm not good at drawing where I see that way. Because it takes me hours. If I want to copy a cartoon, I could. It'd be a basic copy of it, but I could. But it would take me hours to draw it. Whereas a spirit portrait can, as I say, anywhere between 2 to 15 minutes.
So you're releasing total control as an artist to spirit when you draw.
You just, I'll just let the lady. I jokingly refer to myself as a fax machine.
Yeah.
I hold the utensil and let her crack on.
Well, you know, that as an artist, and I do have a background in art. I'm a professional artist all my life, but this is the way I describe it. I know how to draw an eye, but why am I drawing that eye? I draw a nose, and it happens to be that nose of a person in spirit. So they are actually doing the drawing through me, exactly as you say, like I am the tool. I hold this is my tool. Well, I am the tool for spirit. And does that make sense to you?
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, it's what I've learned over the years through speaking with other spirit artists and through training other people to become spirit artists, is we use the clairs in the exact same way every other medium does. You either see spirit and you draw what you see. Yeah. You hear spirit and you draw the description that you're hearing. So if spirit say I've got almond-shaped eyes and I've got a Roman-shaped nose and I've got a mustache, and they tell you what shape of it is, you're hearing all of that, and they'll tell you whether you're getting it right or wrong as you're drawing it.
Yes. Yeah. And you're hearing it with all your senses, correct?
So, some people, not what I mean is they literally hear the voice of spirit either objectively, so they hear it external, or they hear it subjectively within their head, a description of what that person looked like, a bit like a police photo fit. You witness a crime and you describe to the artist what you saw, and the artist draws it. It's the exact same principle. I personally think that's got to be the hardest way of working, because if you don't know what the shapes are, how are you supposed to draw it? Yeah. Sure. So, and then you've got those who work clairsentiently, so they feel where each line should be. So I feel like there's an eye here. And it's often combined with claircognizance. You know if it's right or wrong as you're drawing it.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Whereas with myself, I haven't a clue. I hold the pencil. Right. I don't have a clue where I'm going to go to begin with. I feel the paper, and then suddenly I start drawing. She starts moving my hand. When it starts, I get an odd mark that appears on my face quite frequently. Sometimes when I talk about it, it starts to appear, and it comes right the way up here, all the way down the side of my neck, and it's bright red, and it's red hot to the touch.
Interesting.
So
and I noticed you'll go from eyes to chin to top of the head to
wherever she wants to go.
You move around. Yeah, I've noticed that. Interesting, because that's not that every artist is different, I'm presuming. But I know I did indeed, as an artist, I noticed that how you moved around everywhere. And I thought, wow, she's getting her information differently. How is she doing that? So it's interesting to hear how you get that information.
The best way I can describe it, it's as if my hand is a glove and her hand is within mine. Wow. I'm not saying that's what she's doing, but that's the closest analogy I can give it. Yes. I just allow her to move it. Yeah.
It's hard to find the words to describe the experience as you're going through it, isn't it? To anybody else.
It is, but it's also trust. I had to trust what it was that I was drawing, because the things I was drawing was alien to begin with. Everything was disproportionate, so I just had to trust and go with the flow, and they slowly started getting better. But it wasn't just people that I started drawing. I was drawing items that belonged to people.
Okay.
And on one occasion, I drew a Cheshire cat plate that was apparently released when Alice in Wonderland was released.
Yes.
And it was when I was in the open circle at Billingham Spiritualist Church, and I drew this Cheshire cat plate. And this lady across from me was like, I can't believe that. I had that when I was a child. And I didn't even know it existed. I just let her take control and let her do her job. One time she had me draw something. I didn't have a clue where it was. I was looking, I'm like, what on earth is this? It's a very, very strange. And as I walked, I went to go and get myself a drink. And as I went out, I put my sketch pad down on its side. Just, as you walk out the door, went out of the room, come back in, and the painting was landscape instead of portrait.
Wow.
So, and when I looked at it, it was a half-eaten Cadbury's cream egg. And even with teeth marks drawn around the top of it, now I know I'm a chocoholic. But
Okay.
she was definitely teasing me on that day. But yeah, I actually drew a half-eaten Cadbury's cream egg, and it was on its side, so I didn't have a clue what it was I was drawing until I turned it the correct way up.
Fascinating.
I've drawn upside down, not me literally upside down, but I've drawn the portrait upside down, so the chin's at the top and the hair's at the bottom.
Not knowing you were doing it. Not knowing you were doing it.
I knew it was drawn upside down, but it was.
Oh, you knew.
It was an experiment, and we're drawing upside down today. And when you flipped it over, it was correct. It was.
Oh my goodness.
I sometimes draw. I do experiments like drawing left-handed and right-handed at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Because a lot of people, I've seen them doing it, but the majority mirror image. So, and it's an easy thing to do. We can all do it. If you get a pencil in both hands and you start at the top of the paper and you draw a circle and you do that, you just mirror image it. Your left hand will copy your right hand will copy your left hand. You just mirror image. So the best one for me is to, I'd like to totally get them separate. So that I'm drawing an eye with one hand, I'm drawing the nose with the other. At the same time is where I'd like to get it to.
That's like doing this.
Yeah.
That's very much like doing that.
Hardly recommend trying it. Just I did one where I sat and I did, like, what I had to do though was I had to stick the paper down because otherwise it was moving because I couldn't hold it.
Yeah.
And I drew two gentlemen. I drew the father and the grandfather facing each other. One with my left hand, one with my right.
Wow. And they were both accepted.
I was so excited the first time I ever did it. It was like, yay!
Wow.
But it's something I'm working on. But it's. I would like to be able to get totally independent.
I wonder if you're actually developing both sides of your brain in regards to spirit art and or mediumship, because this is one question that I want to ask you. This is something that my challenge is speaking and drawing, like speaking and mediumship, speaking and drawing at the same time, because they're quite different, going in and out, back and forth. Can you explain that to me? Do you mind?
I don't mind at all. When I first started this, one of the things that people get told frequently, and it frustrates me, is if you're a spirit artist, you have to work with another medium. The other medium has to do the communication side for you. And it's like, I'm sorry, but you don't.
No.
Well, by telling people that, it plants a seed of doubt inside their mind that they can't do it. And that's a barrier. If you tell yourself you can't do a thing, you won't do a thing. You have to give yourself permission to try and say, I can try to do this thing. So I tore down that barrier and went, no, I am going to, if I can give the communication and I can do the drawing, as my mother rightly pointed out, it all comes from the same source, blend the two together. When you get in a car and you change gear, or is it stick in Canada, do you call it?
Stick,
it's like changing gear in your head. So what happens when I'm giving the communication and the drawing, what I tell people beforehand is I might talk throughout the entire process, or I might draw a little, talk a little, draw a little, talk a little, or I might complete the full picture and then give the full communication. So it changes every single time I work.
I have been told by yeah, it changes every time. I agree with you there. It does. But I've been told that by very good psychic artists, you probably know, Catherine Lee, I think, perhaps from the UK. I'm not sure. She teaches it. And there's others that I know who are trance mediums here in Canada, and the ministers that I've worked with in the past. They say that when you're doing, this is their thoughts, that you're in a sort of semi-trance. When semi-trance, they call it, when a spirit artist is drawing, they're in a semi-trance, and then when they stop and you speak, they come out of it. What do you think?
For me, all mediumship is an altered state of awareness.
Okay.
Trance is just a deeper altered state of awareness, and the level of that state of trance can be from a light overshadowing to a deep sleep-like state. I sit in that top layer of the overshadowing, enough for the lady to be able to move my hand, but my brain to still be acting enough to get the communication.
Right.
It's the best way I can describe it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. And you do speak and draw at the same time. That's quite easy for you to do that, to speak and talk. So you're connected.
It
Yeah.
depends it just depends on the moment. I never know whether I'm going to be doing the full talking and drawing at the same time, or whether it's going to be stop, start, like changing gear in my head. It's different every single time.
I agree. In my experience, it's different. It's different. Every single reading is different. Yeah, very good. Well, okay. Well, that helps me a little bit better to understand that. What I have a tendency to do is I'm trying to understand how to do it. I jot the information down on the side of the drawing. Jot, draw, jot, draw,
Yeah,
jot.
I know some people do that. What I do if I'm going to do that is I always put a piece of paper to one side and I write it down on a separate piece of paper. The reason being is what I've discovered is a lot of people like to put the portrait on the wall.
Yes.
So, especially if they haven't seen a picture of their loved ones for a long time and you reunite them with the face of their loved one, they want to be able to see it. And I always think, like, if it's messy all the way around, so I always do the portrait separate and write on a separate piece of paper if I need to. Although sometimes to put like a few little items around the person. I know some people will draw just a portrait and then draw a storyboard if they might draw.
Yes.
Like they used to go on holiday with the glasses they wore, with their pipe or whatever it is, items from their life. But it's varying different things that you end up drawing.
You can do. And when you're working with a medium, like Paul and I do, we work together. I'll speak, he speaks, I draw, we connect. I connect with spirit as he speaks. Do you feel that, and I'm quite certain, I know you've done that. Do you feel that your drawings actually help connect the medium to spirit much more strongly? Do you feel that they feel the essence of spirit if they were to look at the drawing? Do you feel that, first of all, it validates their reading, but does that actually strengthen the connection, I wonder?
For me, it's nothing more than a multi-call, like we're doing right now.
Okay.
It's the exact same principle of a multi-call. We all jump in on the same vibration and work together. But what usually happens if I work with another medium is they wait until I make the first stroke on the paper.
Yes.
They come in on it. I do not like it when the medium that I'm working with tells me that the person should look a different way.
Yes.
Because it's like, excuse me, please stop trying to tell me what they look like. She knows what they look like. She's looking at them.
Can I just say, I've actually done that by my mistake. I found out the hard way. So.
Yes.
Yeah, we usually find out the hard way. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's because it's not only that, it's because the skeptic out there would just turn around and say, you're describing to the artist. So you're in some way devaluating the artist, the spirit artist link with spirit. Yes. If that makes sense. So I if I work with somebody else, I've found a lot of people, some people are like ducks to water. They blend so well into it, and then others who think they are going to do really well with it don't blend into it. Well, I think that's partially not down to them not being able to blend with me. It's how do I phrase? You know how sometimes you do sitting for somebody and you're not connected.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with you and there's nothing wrong with them, but our electromagnetic energy that we work with just seems to skim off each other.
Right. True.
So you get a snippet of information, but it's not flowing. And then other people you work with and it just flows beautifully because you're on the same frequency.
Yes. Yes, I agree.
You know, I liken things to down to earth stuff like radio and TV. You know, and if you're trying to listen to, two separate radio stations at the same time, it's going to be a bit confusing.
Yes, I understand.
When you're working with the spirit world, it all comes from the same source. So if you're on a multi-call, we should all be able to blend in together, but it works with some, it doesn't with others.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then there's some people, it helps if they look at the picture as it's unfolding, and then other people, it puts them off.
Yes.
So, for instance, Gordon Higginson, you love the third of Gordon Higginson, one of the best people the world has ever seen, as far as I am concerned. He is someone to strive towards. That's where our mediumship, that's where we should be aiming for. He would never look when he was working with Coral Pulch. He didn't look at the picture. It was always behind him, and he says, trust in spirit.
Yeah.
Yes.
I trust in spirit. She trusts in spirit. We both say, right, we're linking, bam, done, jobs are good. And they'd get in there and do it.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that you also teach choral. Is that correct?
I do, yeah.
Spirit art? Now, I know somebody once asked me to teach, and I thought, I don't know how I'm going to do that. I mean, what do I have to do? Find a bunch of artists and teach them how to become a medium? Or do I find mediums and teach them how to draw? I had no idea how to start. So what can you say about that?
For me, it was a case of I was placed in a position of where people were developing varying different types of mediumship. So it was the what they called it back then was a psychic art class before the law changed. We now call it what it actually is, and that's spirit art. Okay. And I was where there was a lot of mediums. So it was teaching mediums how to become spirit artists.
Yes, back then.
So you're introducing them to try and blend their mediumship, and then you show them parts of the art they need to learn, and they try and blend it together. But if you get somebody who's an absolute beginner, you need to work on both, teaching them how the proportions of the face, the different types of eyes that there are, the different types of ears, mouths, all of this information. Once it's in the brain, spirit can bring it back out again. But you've also got to teach them how to get the link with the spirit world, sustain it, and be able to blend the two together. Yes,
that's quite a challenge. Absolutely. And in your case, when you started, you weren't an artist, but spirit is actually, they are the ones that taught you your spirit art, your art.
Yes. Which is amazing in itself. You know, that, to me, I just find that amazing. I know we kind of want to keep it to ourselves, Coral, but we have to kind of throw it out there and ask people. It's an interactive interview, so we got lots of questions, by the way, that have been flying in. Okay. So we're gonna go to the audience, and the lovely Helen's in the background. She's hopefully going to put some of the questions up, unless I've just caught her out, and she's sipping some bubbles behind the scenes. I'll tell you why at the end. I'm not going to say before because I could get into trouble. But we have some questions coming. So, Luke Cook, do you only have one spirit guide?
Do I only have one spirit guide? No. The answer to that one is no. I have one who walks. It depends on which group that you're in talking about this sort of thing, but there's several names for guides out there. People say that we have one that walks with us all of our lives, like a guardian angel, spirit guide. There's so many different wording for it. But guides, to me, are teachers of mediumship.
Yeah.
So depending on what discipline within mediumship I'm working, I have a guide to help facilitate that. So when I'm doing art, I have the lady who works with me for art. When I'm doing healing, I have somebody else who works with me for my healing. So I have several guides depending on what discipline I'm working in, and I have helpers who work out around. There is a team, spirit side, to help facilitate things. And as my needs change, so do some of those guides. So when you went to school, if you were learning French, you had a French teacher. If you were going to PE, you had a physical education teacher.
Yeah.
And then when you move up to level, you might have gone beyond what that teacher would teach you and go to somebody who would take you to the next level of it. And the same with your guides. So you might have a guide who comes in and helps you start the beginnings of your mediumship. And once they've taught you as much as they want to, or they need to, they pass you on to someone else, and then they go back to the next beginner, because they're really good at teaching beginners to get started. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah? You see where I'm coming from? So to me, guides are teachers of mediumship.
Yeah.
They facilitate it.
Yeah. Awesome.
They certainly are. Yes, I agree with you there.
Just waiting for the next question. Here we go.
Okay. Can you draw multiple people if they are there with you?
Yes. So sometimes if I'm doing a sitting for somebody, I might draw their mother, their father, their brother, their cousin, their husband. Sometimes I might draw their pet. So I draw all sorts of varying different things. But occasionally, and I'm sure you've probably had this happen to you, Monique, I've had a couple of people appear in the same picture.
Yes, that happened to me yesterday.
So one time I jokingly refer to them, God bless them, as battling grannies, because the top half of the picture was one granny and the bottom half was the other. But in life, that's what they did. They were constantly at each other. No, both determined.
Isn't that funny?
But over time, I started to recognize the feeling of two people trying to get in on the portrait. So then what I said to the spirit world is, I'm sorry, but I can't be doing with this. It's got to be one or the other. Or if you both want to be in, let me draw both of you, but separately.
Yes. And it's happened to me in the past, not so much lately, but I wonder when you are doing mediumship and drawing, would you be talking about somebody in spirit and yet like grandmother, for example, and then be drawing. But what unfolds in the sketch is, let's say, grandfather.
Yep.
So does that happen to you as well? Yes.
Sometimes I'll draw dad where I'm getting communication from mum.
Right.
It's whoever wants to come through for the portrait, whoever wants to come through for the communication side of it. I just trust that whoever I'm drawing at the time of that communication, that the two go together to the same recipient.
Yes. Trust is a big thing. Thank you,
It
Stephanie.
has to be. If we don't trust in our spirit team, how are we supposed to do our job properly?
Exactly. Great question, Stephanie. Thank you.
So, yeah, it was a great question. Thank you, Steph. And Carol Phillips has asked, hi, Carol, do you ever take any drawing lessons to help you as well? Do you ever anybody help you on that side of things?
To begin with, no. I didn't. There's several reasons why. I wanted to be completely trusting in what I was getting from the spirit world. I just wanted to let it crack on. What I was missing was the proportions of the face. I just needed to be shown them. And my mentor, Matthias Guldenstein, showed me that at the International Spiritualist Federation. He kind of took me under his wing, showed me the proportions of the face. And the instant he showed me them, the next portrait I produced was tenfold better. Just by him showing me once, it just went in, and spirit were able to bring it straight back out again. And yeah, he's the one who got me into teaching. So
Okay.
it's just one of those things of, I didn't take any actual drawing lessons. I just learned what the proportions were. So the information was in my head, partially because I didn't want to be second guessing. And the reason why I say that is I have a friend, another spirit artist, and she is a fully trained portrait artist, but she doesn't see spirit. She feels where every line should go. And part of her problem is because she could draw any one of us without a problem. She's that good. But she feels where every line should be. And sometimes when she's drawing, if she starts drawing, she feels like it's a big nose. She starts drawing the big nose. Then her art training kicks in and goes, that's not the average proportion. So her brain changes the picture. And then afterwards she'll be told, yeah, that's my dad, but my dad had a huge nose. And she'll be like, I've done it again. You've got to trust the sense from the spirit world.
Yes.
You have to. It's teamwork.
It's always a battle. As far as I mean, I hope you concur. But releasing control as an artist of the way you were taught, the way things should be, letting, just like it has to do with trust, letting go of control and letting spirit take over. There's always a fine line.
I've done it the opposite way. I let spirit do the controlling. Then the spirit controlling my hand, and other people showing me the proportions of the face, so the information was in there. And then only recently have I started to actually look at practicing drawing myself of what I see.
Oh, so it's the opposite for you, and I have the opposite problem.
Yes,
yeah, the opposite problem. Isn't that interesting? Every medium is different. Every artist is different.
Of course, unique.
Yeah,
absolutely unique. Thank you, Carol. That was awesome.
Facebook user.
Yeah, this is from Lucy.
Lucy.
Because when you guys come in from different platforms, and if you haven't agreed, I think it's in the privacy settings, that then if you just click on there before you come in, that will sort that out. But not to worry about. This is from Lucy.
Firstly, if a loved one sends you a message, do they go into the light and then you can't hear from them again once they go into the light? Is that it?
Okay. I'm just going to answer this from my perspective. I don't deal well with people doing this. Go into the light. Go into the light. The instant your physical body dies, your spirit returns back to the spirit world where it belongs. We are spirit having a human experience, not a human having a spiritual one, as far as I am concerned. Your loved ones can communicate within minutes of their physical body passing, or it could take a while for their for them to communicate. Sometimes it's about finding the right medium for you. My father-in-law passed on the Friday, was in church on the Sunday, announcing to my father, everything you told me was right, Jim. I've arrived safe and sound. The moment you die, you are collected by the spirit world. Nobody is lost in any way, shape, or form. God may be ancient, doesn't suffer with Alzheimer's. Nobody gets lost, as far as I am concerned. Okay, nobody dies alone either. Spirit come and collect each and every one of us. And if you don't think you've got a loved one spirit side of life, believe me, you do. My grandfather on my father's side, I never knew him this side of life. He died before my parents met, but the amount of messages I've got from that man is unbelievable, showing that he still has an interest because I am his kin.
Yes.
Yeah. So love transcends the grid. So your loved ones can continue. If you see it as them going into the light as they enter the spirit world or they enter heaven, it's a lovely way of phrasing it, but they can communicate at any point if they wish to. It's just finding the right person for them to communicate through. What I would suggest is be aware, if you've lost a loved one, of your own senses, because frequently they're trying to let you know when they've made their transition that I'm around, I'm alive.
Yeah.
And often that's where people get the idea that they're stuck, because they can still sense them. They don't realize they're just trying to let you know, look, it's life after death is real.
Yes.
And they're trying to let you know that they're alive and well. So it's, for me, it's like you can still hear from them again. Yes, absolutely you can. Find the right medium for you.
Yeah. Okay. Facebook user. Secondly, I've had 2 separate messages from my closest 2 that have taken me by surprise physically in the same way. One in a face-to-face, another online with Heidi, like a massive wave of warmth and slight pins and needles. Can you explain this? Does that make sense? Did I read that properly?
I'm not quite sure what the question means.
Okay.
Sorry.
Secondly, I have had 2 separate messages from my closest 2. So I'm assuming, because again, we can't see who this sent the message through. They have taken me by surprise. So possibly from 2 people she has in spirit. In the
Does
same
she
way.
mean by the feeling of goosebumps?
Yeah, I think so. One online with Heidi, and I believe that might have been Heidi that we've had on as a guest before.
Right. Some people, when they get that, how do I phrase it? Evidence to each person, it's unique to the individual, what you are willing to accept as evidence as life after death or not. And often that I've heard from people is when they first get that evidence from someone where they're like shocked by, how can you know this information? Yeah. A lot of people report that they get the feeling of goosebumps.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Partially because it's a surprise to them that their loved ones can communicate. It's there is always for some people a little bit of fear because they fear the unknown. Whereas for me, education is the key to enlightenment. If you learn the ins and outs of it, there's nothing to fear from the spirit world at all.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Lou Cook. Lou Cook comes in and says, has the spirit ever made you draw anything embarrassing?
Half eaten crab goose cream egg. No, not in that. It depends on what you mean by the word embarrassing. I've drawn portraits, I've drawn items that belong to people, but I wouldn't say I've drawn anything embarrassing.
Interesting question, though.
Yeah. Zoe, hi Zoe. Have you ever drawn any of your family who have passed that you never met?
Of my family?
Being of a personal nature.
Okay, I've met my nana. I've drawn my aunt. No, I met her. I'm trying to think now. I'm not sure of my own family.
I guess
I have of other people's families who I've never met.
Yeah.
So I'm unsure on that one. I'd have to have a think about that.
Yeah. Not everybody knows.
Portraits of the years.
This is Mother. Hello, Mother. Hope you're feeling well. Have you ever had to draw something that was or has unnerved you?
No.
Yeah. Simple as that. No. People don't realize.
I have absolutely no fear of the spirit world because
this is
more
the
to
problem.
the living than the dead.
Yeah, most people fear what we do. There's a lot of fear and there's a lot of wrong information out there what we do. They only come in love. They
do. And that's what I ask for when there's any readings or drawings being done. Amy Florence has a question now. I recently had a close friend sadly pass away, and since then I've had a white feather fall near my feet. White butterflies keep coming near me, and I had someone rubbing my arm. Could this happen so quickly after her passing?
Yep. That was a fast answer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
My brother appeared in my bedroom the day after he passed.
Wow.
It was
phenomenal.
Quick. I woke up and there he was. So yes, they can communicate very, very quickly. What I will say for things like white feathers and that sort of thing, from my perspective, I'm a very down-to-earth person. I was trained to look to the normal before we reach to the paranormal. So in my mind, I see a white feather, I think it's come from a bird. However, if you have sent out the thought to your loved ones that a white feather to you symbolizes them in the spirit world, and then you start noticing white feathers in unusual places, the chances are spirit have orchestrated it. And it will have come from a bird, but they'll have orchestrated it in a way for it to appear at the right moment, at the right time, because there's an intelligence with the spirit world. And I'm going to give you an example. My husband's aunt had said to her dad, if there's life after death, I want a white feather. She didn't find it at her feet. She didn't find it outside. She opened a book in her house one day, and inside the book was a white feather.
Oh, wonderful.
Wow. There you go.
He hadn't been in the house for a very long time. Nobody knew about it, and she opened it, and there it was. So sometimes, I would say, if it's an unusual place, it can be a sign of spirit.
There can be some great signs.
That symbol is something you'd accept.
I remember doing a demonstration, and there was a lady that had the first thing this gentleman came through and said, now I went to a lady in the audience, and there was this pink ribbon that just materialized in the middle of her living room. She'd been out shopping, she came home, and in the middle of the living room was this pink ribbon. She thought, well, this is very unusual. And it wasn't until she'd come to the demonstration that evening, her father came through, and he brought through that evidence. It blew her away. So, yeah, they'll give us signs, won't they? They really will, especially unusual signs. This is from Lou Cook. Have you just frozen? Oh, can you still?
That's what I'm wondering.
Oh no.
It's okay. Sorry.
Oh,
there she is.
Someone's enlightening again.
We've got it here as well. It's terrible.
Yeah.
So before you answer that, whereabouts are you in the world? Because I've got lightning here as well, Coral.
Yeah, I'm in a town called Hartlepool. Northeast of England.
Right up north.
Yeah.
Lovely. Okay, sorry, I was just interested because we got thunder here, and you're not around the corner from me. So, okay, a question from Lou. Hi, Lou again. I wonder if all three of you connected to the same spirit at the same time, whether the spirit could present themselves in a different era time to each of them, or would they look the same? So in other words, coming through younger, older,
Yeah. As a spirit artist, when people come for being drawn, they can appear at any age they choose to. When I've worked with other mediums, me and Matthias once did an experiment, and it was I drew one family member, he drew another family member. But the question about us given communication-wise, spirit will draw upon each person's own life experiences to get parts of the information that they want to be able to deliver. So as we are all unique beings, individuals, that Paul will give a totally different perspective of that communicator. So would Monique and so would I, but we probably all at the same time have certain aspects that will be exactly the same in that communication. But it's just like a multi-call. It's what does he say to me? What does he say to Paul? What does he say to Monique? And then we repeat what it is we've perceived to the recipient.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the answer is yes, we'd get things in similar, but also things that would be different.
Have you ever done a reading for the same person more than once, Carol? I'm talking about a spirit portrait, and drawn the same person but two different eras of time?
Yes. I've drawn. My father-in-law is a perfect example of this. My father-in-law has a very unique nose, and he's had me try to draw him about 20 times. And every single time I would draw the nose, I would recognize the nose, and then I would wreck the link trying to make the picture look like him. So he cheated and had me draw him when he was 19. When he was a lot younger and he looked different. So yeah, it's a way around it. So spirit can appear at any age they choose. You only have to look at Frank Lear. There's a gentleman, Percy something Stocker, I think his name was, and he posed for Frank Lear 7 times, different stages of his life, and then the family produced the photographs afterwards of him throughout his life, and you would think they were drawn directly from the
now also I've noticed in my experience, and I'm sure you have too, that perhaps you're different, but something tells me it would be the same. You being the only other spirit artist that I've talked to about these things, they always seem to come in healthy, youthful, vibrant,
healthy, looking in the prime life.
Oh, it's that thunder again.
Uh-oh.
That lightning's hit us again. She'll be back in a sec. I'm hoping she can still hear us. Before Coral goes, we have also a little clip of how Coral works. So we're hoping to show that, Monique, aren't we?
Yeah.
So, and it, you know, obviously how you work. I mean, as a layperson, I'm not an artist. I can do matchstick men, but that's pretty much about as good as my art would ever be. But the difference between yourself and how Coral works is interesting, especially how Coral starts and how she feels the paper. I find that really, really interesting. It's such a gift.
Yes.
In terms of how everyone starts and how unique people are. So while we're waiting for Coral, should we just play a snippet of that?
Yeah, she'll be in. It looks like she's dropped out.
I'll just bring it up on screen and share it. I'm going to quickly go into YouTube. So I'm not sure whether to. I'm just going to play it just to give you the idea of how she starts to work, how she starts to feel the page.
Looks like she really is feeling the page there. It's
I'm not sure whether that's speeded up though, but it really does feel like she is.
Here, she is now in. Are we able to drop her in and she can talk over this?
Yeah. I'm just.
There she is. Hi, Coral.
Hi, Coral.
Apologies for that, guys. Thunder and lightning again. Bam, internet off.
No problem. We were just sharing some of your work off of YouTube, and there is a couple of examples of your work on YouTube if people would like to go after the show and have a quick look, because it really is fascinating. But we were just showing the start. Do you mind if you want to talk us through this, what's happening? Also, when you start in this clip, have you speeded it up, or is that how fast your hands work?
Can you
no, it's speeded up. That is how fast I draw.
It really is how fast you draw. Okay.
Yes.
Is it really? I thought it was a sped up video. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's exactly how long it took me to draw the picture.
Oh my God! I thought you sped up the video. Well, that's fascinating.
No.
Do you feel? It looked like you felt the paper a little bit before you actually started.
Yeah,
I do. It's a habit I've got into. It's like I'm feeling for something to happen. It's like almost like I feel like there's a decision being made in the background of who's coming through, and I'm just feeling for which ones come to the forefront. I suppose a way of phrasing it, and then all of a sudden, like bam, I've got one, and my hand starts moving.
Yeah,
got it. You can feel it when you have one too. I hear you. Yeah. Oops, the video just stopped, Paul. Or is that the video itself?
It's still working. It's still going. Can you guys
still going? Okay. All right.
So, I tend to start with the eyes and the top part of the bridge of the nose is where I tend to start. It's partially, it's where I think you'll probably be with me on this, Monique. You get into a habit of starting in a certain location.
That's right.
So I tend to start on the inside and work my way out, although occasionally they throw me a curveball and I'll do the outside and then try and fit the features in. But I always find I do the features too small that way. Because wherever I start on the picture often tends to be a smidgen too big.
Yes.
Like my spirits.
Yes. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'm trying to get out of the habit of drawing the nose too long. It always seems to be too long. But that looks fabulous right there. There's no problem right there with what you're doing in that sketch.
It's also to do with sometimes if I'm a bit too big or draw a little, but the track they were older when they passed through it well.
Right.
Oh, bless her. That thunder. It's got a lot to answer to this evening. She'll be back in a sec.
You know, and as I'm looking at that sketch, she already has the essence of spirit in there. You know, I've noticed.
But the speed, Monique, the speed in which her hand is moving is just. I mean, I know you're really fast. I mean,
that's her right hand. Remember, she moved from left to right. Right hand is to speed up things, and certainly going fast there.
Yeah.
Coral, go ahead. You can. We don't want to.
Apologies for that. Yeah. And sometimes if I'm drawing, I do the ears too big, the nose too big. It's because they're trying to tell me the person was older than what I've drawn them. Because as we age, our nose has the appearance of growing because it droops a little bit with age. I joke with everything moves south for the winter of life.
True.
So true. And your ears do keep growing as you age.
Really?
Yes, they do. Yeah, they do. I jokingly refer to it as my husband's got tiny pixie ears. I said, by the time you're 80, you'll have normal sized ones. Yeah, it's I just wherever my hand gets moved to, that's where I just have to trust and let it happen. So I'm not English like hand is bam, move it. just gets moved around.
Yeah. Well, you're going from top. This is the way that I would work too, top to bottom.
Yeah.
I've seen her move around, though. I've seen you move around, that's for sure. And the personality, my goodness. I would imagine who's ever accepted this reading at this point, the sitter, would say, that's my uncle, that's my grandfather. They would know immediately, because there's no denying the essence of the person in this sketch, that's for sure. In fact, even the color of the eyes, I mean, it's amazing how you can connect to this sketch. There's so much personality to it.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind. Yeah. And I'm sure that she's hearing, feeling, seeing, all throughout this process.
Yeah, but the speed, it is absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah. I'm taking she's frozen again.
Yeah, unfortunately. Hopefully she'll be back in a second.
Okay. There, she just dropped out and she's on her way back in again.
Yeah.
It would be kind of interesting for her just to tell us the final sketch, who it was, if it was accepted. There's always an interesting little story. Coral, I was just saying, there's always an interesting little story behind the sketches. Who was this person?
This particular gentleman, if I remember correctly, because I've drawn that many pictures, it turned out to be a friend's father.
Okay.
There you go.
If it's the one I think it is. I drew it, and then I was impressed. I had to contact a specific person, and it was her dad. So
yes. So she definitely, and as I said, I mean, the rest of it's lovely, but as soon as you would have finished those eyes, if it was my father, I would have known right away.
Yeah, that's the beauty of this, because with mediumship, you can give, like, okay, we use Gordon Higginson as an example, probably one of the finest mediums of all time. His mediumship was phenomenal, but this has a different side to it together. And I generally feel this brings the person to life. It's very visual, it's there, isn't it?
It's one of the things I'd say is all of us will have experienced being, I've got the middle-aged balding man. We can all take a middle-aged balding man.
Yeah.
True.
But spirit artist, you've got to produce the goods. You've actually got to draw the middle-aged balding man, and they all look different.
Yes, they all do. And also the great thing about this portrait is the message is not passed by word of mouth so much. It can be, but there's no denying a sketch like something, especially one like that. So that would be presented to grandfather. I mean, grandfather's passed, but let's say the mother was still alive. This would be the father. So the sketch would go to the mother. It would go, you know what I mean? It's passed from one person to the next. So the real reading actually expands out like the pebble dropping in the water. It just goes from one person to the next. And that's what I love so much about spirit art. So
it is my passion, I have to admit.
Yes.
It's absolutely my passion. I love it.
And special it is too. Yeah, it is lovely. It's pretty wonderful. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, one of the things I have found when I'm drawn is I wonder whether you have the same problem, Monique, when sometimes you find that you struggle to draw a particular item on the face, and it usually is because there's something wrong. So, for instance, like you're trying to draw their eyes, sometimes if I'm struggling on an eye, is it because they were blind in the eye?
Yes.
Turn in the eye? So sometimes it's part of the evidence they're building as you're creating the portrait.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
Within it. I know one lady, sometimes with her, if she found on one particular picture that she'd done in the hat band, there was words in the scribble of the shading in the hat band. That was so it's like sometimes there's things hidden in there that you didn't know you drew.
Well, that's right. I did the one man I sketched was a father, and he insisted as I drew on giving him a 5 o'clock shadow and a hairy chest. And the son said, my father, if he didn't shave twice a day, he would have a beard by 10 o'clock, Yeah. So, yeah. So I hear what you're saying. That's absolutely true. Yeah, it's amazing.
But yeah,
well done.
The picture is at its actual speed. It's just the camera that I used skipped slightly, but that is the exact amount of time it took me to draw it.
That was what, 8 minutes?
Blow that up.
8 minutes. Yeah.
That
was so quick. I thought you had sped up the video. I honestly did. That was amazing. So did you notice the difference right away from left to right? It's like, wow.
The speed. After I drew left-handed for several, what was it, like 2.5 to 3 months, something like that. This going to my right hand for speed, it just massively jumped. It was to anywhere from 2 minutes to 15 minutes per picture.
Wow. I'll tell you, when you connect with spirit in this way, every day is a miracle, honestly, when you watch these things, and a gift, definitely. Are there any more questions?
An ability. For me, it's an ability. What you choose to do with it is the gift.
Absolutely.
Do you gift it to other people? Do you use it correctly? Do you know what I mean? Do you work with integrity and to bring forward that evidence of survival to people? And that's my job, is to reunite people with the faces of their loved ones.
And you still teach classes, Coral? Are you online?
Absolutely, I do.
They can find you on a website or on your Facebook page?
Yeah.
You can find me on Facebook, Coral Ryder. There's not many of me about. You can see my artworks on there as well. I also have a Facebook page called Spirit Within Art as well. And via my email address or my phone number, they can text me.
Before you go, and I can't believe it's just been over the hour already, and we want to keep you for another hour. But before you go, can you pick somebody who's coming up in our comments and names, so we can? It's Monique is now going to do a free drawing for you guys. So if you'd like to pick a lucky winner.
So just a random name.
Let me have a look. Also, guys, apologies because we had so many questions, Coral, tonight. Linda Ray had a question as well. Hi, Linda. I'm sorry we didn't get to you, and I think Ed as well.
I've got a couple of minutes if you want.
Okay. Let's see if we can find Linda's and Ed's. I'm so sorry. There's so many questions. I'm just going to ask Helen if she can see the questions that we've gone back on. Come up any sec. I know there was one from Linda that I saw that we didn't get to, and also one from Ed. So even to you guys, hopefully you're all well. Let's see if I can find it.
So is that the one where have you ever drawn with a spirit taking control?
Yes,
I work with control where I allow the medium, my spirit guide to move my hand for me. Has spirit ever took control of, as in took me over? Is that what you mean, Linda? Because the answer to that is no. I don't believe in possession, only obsession. People get so obsessed with a link to keep it running 24/7. It's a mental discipline. You have to switch your mediumship off at certain times. You can't keep it running 24/7. It's not healthy. And I don't mean it's not healthy in the way that you've got anything to fear from the spirit world, because there's nothing to fear from spirit. What I mean by it's unhealthy is you have to be able to sleep. Because, you can't be interrupted all night, and you have to be able to go and do your job without being distracted all the time.
Right.
So, but no, spirit have not took over my body. I allow them to move my hand for me. It's different.
Yeah. Linda's also a medium, so she knows that already. I know. It's, I guess, from my perspective, it's how deep you blend with spirits. How far is there a point of where you feel like you've got complete control, if that makes sense, but you're still in control?
It's one of those things of I totally let the lady move my hand. She does the drawing, but I can stop it at any time. Because at the end of the day, we are in control of our mediumship. We give permission for it to go ahead, and we can stop it at any given time.
Yeah, awesome. And last question from Ed. Do you want to read that for me, Monique?
Edward Goodman, last question. Do you find that the influence of spirit appears in your handwriting when you least expect it?
I've had it where I've been sitting practicing because when I first started the drawing, I did automatic writing and automatic drawing. So it was I was doing the automatic drawing, but then there would be a period that I would write, and it was automatic writing as well. And I was writing in a language I didn't know. I was drawing in weird symbols, and we ended up having to research. And the closest we can get is ancient Brahm script. We don't know what actual language it's in.
Wow.
But the closest is, as I said, ancient Brahm script. But what I found was sometimes when I was sitting and the automatic writing was going on, it was in the handwriting of the person who's communicating. So after my father-in-law passed, I was writing stuff with my left hand, the automatic writing, and there was a message in there for my mother-in-law, and it was in my father-in-law's writing, not my writing.
Wow.
my sister-in-law was round one day visiting, and I was practicing, and I drew this a picture for her, and underneath I'd written a couple of sentences, and she went, "Coral, that's my nana's handwriting."
Was that it with your left hand, Coral, or your right?
That was with my right hand.
Okay. Fascinating.
Yeah, for those of you that are asking for how to contact, we have been putting the banners going across the bottom, how to get in contact with Coral. Okay. I have a feeling you're going to get some work from this interview tonight, Coral.
One thing I do have to, because there's a question on the screen there, can you tell whether the person you are drawing is in spirit or living? Now I can. When I started, I didn't know whether I was drawing spirit or person living. It was usually spirit, but occasionally they would throw in a picture of somebody who's living. It doesn't mean anything bad's going to happen to the person I draw. It means spirit's thinking of that person. And it could be there's a celebration around them and they want to just say congratulations. It could be they're concerned around them and they just want you to give them a little bit of TLC. Or it could simply be that they want a message to go to the person you've drawn as a point of recognition.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I do know when I've drawn the living, although occasionally I have drawn someone who has been in a coma and he has communicated directly. I've drawn him, gave the communication to his loved one, but that was a very odd one.
No kidding. Very unusual. Wow. That's what a gift that is.
Yeah.
That you're able to do that. My goodness.
Well,
I know what you mean.
It just happened.
Yeah, these things just happen. And I do know what you mean because, yeah, sometimes you do pop out as somebody who's in a drawing, somebody who's living. And it is surprising to the sitter, isn't it? It's like, that person's living. And I hear what you're saying. I get confused sometimes as to whether or not that, it comes with practice, I guess, whether or not to be able to decipher the living and the people of past in spirit.
Sorry, I'm just moving my laptop slightly because I have to plug into the hard line.
Oh, okay, good.
Thunderstorms outside, so.
Yeah, okay. No, it's been really bad, but we need the rain. We need the rain. We've had so many people asking questions. I'm so sorry if we have missed you guys. We really are sorry. Can you pick a name for us, Coral?
Okie dokie, let me have a little look. Who am I drawn to? Okay, that's who I've stopped on. That's who's going to have a sitting then, isn't it? Penny Farrar. Or Farrar. That's the name in front of me.
Penny.
Penny Farrar.
Ah, found it.
Oh, she is Farrar. Yeah.
And I will answer a question. Sit, give yourself permission to try and sit the spirit world. Here's my hand. I'm ready to work with you and start practicing and see what happens. Awesome. Establish your link with the spirit world and then start drawing and see where they lead you.
Yeah, I might start asking questions, see if I can get a read.
You think about it, when you started your mediumship and you asked for somebody to come forward and help you learn your mediumship, so ask for an artist to come and help you with your art.
Absolutely.
Do actually.
Oh, we can't thank you enough.
You're very welcome.
I do know that I never thought to ask for an artist.
Oh,
that's a fantastic idea, Corey.
Oh, Monique, you're buffering. That storm has gone across the Atlantic. Oh, there you go.
No, it's got you that time, Monique.
Yeah, it's got you. We got a gremlin in here somewhere. I'm sure we have.
Oh my God, what's a beautiful day here?
Yeah, no, I think it's in the Atlantic.
So
we sent it over your way. Yeah, sorry.
Wow, that's great.
Oh, there you go. You're back, Monique, I think. You're back.
Am I?
Yeah,
can you hear me?
You're just back, yeah. So, yeah, we just wanted to thank you for coming on. And obviously, Penny, you're very lucky and very welcome. And if you'd like to get in touch with Monique, she can arrange a time when she can, read for you. Really, it's drawing and reading. So, we're now going to start work. So, Kat, you're welcome to. You've got to go there, Coral, haven't you?
I do. Yes, I've got more work to get cracking on with. So, thank you for the invite.
Yeah, absolutely.
And enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you very much.
Same to you. Thank you. It was a real pleasure, honestly. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming and answering those questions. Thank you.
Anytime I say us spirit artists, we're few and far between. So it's nice to get face to face with someone else who's just the same as me.
It certainly is.
And it's nice to get to know the person behind your gift. Because everyone wants to know you.
I'm going to tease you with that, Paul. It's an ability.
Absolutely. It is. It is, absolutely. But it's still nice to get to know the person.
Yeah, it is.
Rather than just the artist and what your ability. And yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. As I said,
Awesome.
for the invite. It's been lovely. Take care now. Bye.
Bye. Bye. And those
Bye.
guys that are watching it on catch up or said they've just missed it, you can watch this it's like goes into like a re-record. I can't get my words out tonight, Monique. I don't know what's
Must be
going
the
on.
storm.
It must be the storm. It's all gobbledygook tonight. So yeah, you can watch again via my Facebook. Sorry, your Facebook, Monique. I believe Helen's is linked now. We've got quite a few. So there is many different ways. Also on YouTube pages as well.
Yeah.
So, do you want to share your screen and we should start work, Monique?
Okay. Well, speaking of spirit art and mediumship, let's see if I can find the right button here.
No, that's not right.
Okay. I don't seem to be able to do it. Can you? Oh, that's why I need to share my screen.
Yeah, you need to share your screen.
Okay.
And then we'll start.
Right. I should have started that right from the beginning. Here we go.
There you go. So, guys, just to remind you, we are going to share the link in the comments. It is really helpful if you can come into the studio to communicate with us. Obviously, we can't be a medium if we've got no one to go between. So it's lovely that we can bring this message through. Yeah, if you can't, obviously no problem. We'll obviously have to make the message a bit smaller and move on to the next person. So we can try and do a couple if we can. So yeah, let us know if you'd like a message. Let us know that you're watching. Say hi, say hello, you'd like a message, and we'll go from there. Okay, Monique, are you ready?
Yes.
I've forgotten, Monique. I'm trying to get my head into spirit. I'm trying to get shift my consciousness into spirit. And
right. It's not easy to switch gears, is it?
Two things at once. We've got people jumping in already. Don't come in, guys, until you know that you connect with the person we've got. That's the only other thing we've got, because it might not be for you. That's the only thing. All right. So please be patient with us. Just jump. We'll get you back in if you believe the information coming through is for you. Okay. Okay. I'm going to start. Just give me a moment. Oh, okay.
I already have somebody, but I'm going to let you start, Paul, because we might be already connected.
Well, do you understand? Have you got a gentleman, Monique, with you?
I do have a gentleman, yes.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so
I'm seeing him many generations ago in black and white. I'm going to let you continue.
Okay, no pressure.
I feel that. I hope we have the same one. I'm feeling it feels a couple of generations ago. I'm feeling this man I'm seeing him in what looks like a sailor's cap, a sailor's cap. Way back when.
Okay.
In the military with the sailor's cap. That's what I'm seeing. So go ahead, Paul. If you're connecting, you go ahead.
I'm kind of wondering we might have two then, because I'm not going that far back. I don't think
that's okay. Remember, Cole Ryder said.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's happened to us many times.
It has.
Yeah. So you go ahead and I'll connect. Go ahead.
Okay, I've got a gentleman coming in here. I know the name Gordon links into him. I'm not sure if it's his name or someone around him that would be important to him. But the name Gordon. Also, there's a Mr. Banks as well. I feel really strongly connected to this name Banks. Okay. This gentleman feels a very strong father connection. I know that he would have been a grandfather when he passed into spirit, but there's a real strong responsibility in terms of who he was, his fatherly duties. And I know as he went into becoming a grandfather, he was a very responsible grandfather. I do feel this, and I guess that's where you're getting it from, Monique. I do feel there's some kind of military or even some kind of uniform experience with this gentleman. Correct. But the name Banks as well, there's a connection with the name Banks as well, and also the name Gordon. Also, I keep hearing another name that connects in here. I've just had two names, actually. The name Lucy and the name Emma that links in here. Now, Okay, I've got two gentlemen here, Monique, and the second one is slightly different. I think this could be on two different sides of the family. And I feel this gentleman is, I have the C connection with this gentleman. And I do feel with this particular gentleman that there is, guys, if you understand this information, just let us know. There is a real joker, and I do feel a London connection with this gentleman. Okay, and I do feel this London connection with this gentleman really strong, and yeah, it feels like I've got two opposites of the family, or one would be father, one would be father-in-law. And I know one particular gentleman I know would have been a real joke. The gentleman that has the military experience, I'm not so sure about the Navy, but I am feeling the military experience. There's a real joker.
I agree.
I pushed that into my mind for some reason, like almost like he didn't take life so seriously, even when times were really tough, and even when he was not well, he would not let on he wasn't well. That was kind of his personality. Also, I keep hearing the name Maureen that connects to him as well. Maud or Maureen that connects to him. He also, what is that? Okay. Also, I know, I'm getting a date into April that connects to him as well. This is the gentleman that feels like the connection with the military as April. I want to say the 18th again, the 18th of April that connects in here. And also a number 24 that connects in. It's either a door number or birthday. Does anyone understand this information? If you've got anything else on this, Monique?
No, I'm just focusing on the mouth. Go ahead, Paul.
On the other gentleman, I also hear the name Water as well that links to him. But I feel like I've got two different sides, like I've got a father and a father-in-law.
I do feel a British connection as well, as you mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. These gentlemen are of a certain generation. These gentlemen, forgive me for saying this, are a dying generation.
Yes.
Okay? And there's a lot of respect from both these gentlemen in terms of how they carry themselves. But I feel it's the father that connects to the link here tonight, is the person that we're looking for. I feel the father is the London connection. It's a London connection. The father comes from London. I also feel there's a Stratford, possibly a Stratford and East End connection with this gentleman as well. I also feel that there was it feels like the gentleman was connected to a market. There's a Barra Boy connection as well. And I feel this is going back in the day for him. Does this make any sense to anybody? Great picture, Monique. It's really starting to come up.
Yes. I'm feeling grandfather, father with this, a man with a sense of humor, a British connection. We may, do you feel you still have two, Paul?
I do. I really do. Yeah. But I feel one's father, one's father-in-law.
Okay. I do feel two men. I'm not sure father, grandfather, or father, father-in-law. It could be, but I do feel two men, just like you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it feels like they're on the opposite sides of the family. It feels like one is father, one is father-in-law. Okay, that connects in here. And I keep hearing the name Lucy, and also it sounds like M or Emma.
I feel that he did have hair. He combed it back.
Yeah.
When I get to the top, I have to feel whether or not they're balding, but I feel this man was thinning. They do at this age, but he still had his hair, and he would comb it back just like this. Handsome man, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was married.
If no one can take it, we can leave it. We can move on to get another one. But it will be a case of someone's not getting it, or we're not quite getting the message right. But it can happen sometimes, because we just don't know. We haven't got a captive audience, so we can't see if everyone's listening. Okay.
There's no hands raised. There's nobody.
No, there's nothing at all. We're just going to keep going then. I did know the gentleman, the London connection. The more I feel into this, the more I connect with The Navy. I do feel there's a connection with the Navy. Certainly.
You do connect with the Navy, don't you?
The more that this feels more like the father rather than the father-in-law. That it connects with the Navy.
Yes.
The more I feel into him.
Yeah. Okay. He's talking about. I'm feeling he's talking about a wife. He was married. Okay.
And I'm sorry to be cliche. I also feel there was a collection of Toby jugs. There was quite a few Toby jugs that they had. I feel that also around the name Margaret as well. It's important to him. And this feels like either a sister or a mother connection.
He had as I'm drawing him, I feel that, see how the back is a little bit hunched?
Yeah.
Right? When he would sit at the table with his elbows on the table and his shoulders would go up.
Yeah.
Behind his neck. This was a common posture for him. Arms crossed on the table.
Again, I'm getting so many different names that connect in here, and I feel this is in with the gentleman from Spirit. There was the name Brian. Sorry, the gentleman from the London connection. The name Brian is really strong with him as well. I love that the way you've drawn kind of how masculine he is. He is a strong man, Monique.
Yeah, very good.
He really does feel a strong man.
Good shape his whole life.
Yeah, yeah.
Well loved.
I also feel
there's a daughter. I'm feeling that he's speaking about a daughter. So
yeah.
Do you?
One of them is definitely, and I keep hearing the name Lucy or Emma, Lucy or Emma, but definitely the Lucy I keep hearing time again. I really do, especially with the other gentleman.
Yeah, I feel a reference to a daughter, love sent to a daughter here. So
yeah,
if there's somebody, oops, sorry, that's my phone. So if there's somebody here who is a daughter of this man, this message would, part of the message, or if not all, is for her.
Yeah.
Has anybody spoken up yet?
No, we're still going. We'll just keep going with these two guys, because I feel either someone's come in and gone out again, or someone's listening properly. That's great, Monique.
Well, he definitely sends his love.
Yeah, I feel what I'm looking at, the picture I'm looking at is the name Brian. The name Brian really sticks out to me on that name. I don't know how you feel about that, but the name Brian links here.
Okay, I'm not getting a name. I'm getting definitely a personality.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm feeling a woman as well. It's that's come in. It's quite possible that his wife has passed. Mom and dad are both together. I do feel a woman. Are we not getting any response yet? Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, we can leave it and try and get another one, because I think if someone's not going to take it, we could be here all night trying to get this one message.
True. Okay, we'll move on.
So we'll leave that. So if anyone comes onto the program, you never know. It could be somebody watching the program that comes on a pre-record and needs to hear this message. Both of these gentlemen come through with love, as always. As always.
I feel that this gentleman was in the Navy, and we're talking I've seen him as a young man with the naval cap, and the image I'm seeing is black and white. So we're talking a generation yet going back.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that, because I'm seeing the gentleman, the London gentleman that was in the Navy.
Okay.
So I'm not so sure.
Okay. Yeah. He was in the Navy.
But then I feel there's a father-in-law figure there as well.
Okay.
Here's the first one that came in for me, the father-in-law figure, then this gentleman here.
Okay.
So, we'll leave their love, and we'll see who else we can bring in.
Very good.
And I've really heard the name Banks as well, so strong, and the name Gordon that came in for them as well, that connects to them both.
Okay.
So we'll leave that.
Yes.
It's always a bit gutting when people can't take it. I remember Anthony and we had one with a car crash once, and there was an accident in a car crash, and no one could take it. But it is what it is. You can't help yourself not listening. So sorry about that, guys. We're going to see if we can bring someone else through. And okay. Right, do you want me to go first, Monique?
Yes, I'm getting someone
Okay.
already. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've got a lovely lady stepping in. I know this is separate to the link that I've had before because I've just checked.
I have
know
a lady
those
as well. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm really sorry to bring this in as evidence, but I know this lady would have passed with cancer. Okay, but I do feel there was also other issues with this lady. I know she would have gone into spirit quite elderly. I'm sorry to sound generic about that, but she would have gone into spirit late 70s, early 80s, if probably more mid 80s. I do feel this lady, and though she had cancer, there was other conditions as well. I also feel strongly that she was having her feet treated regularly. I do feel her feet were always a problem. Her feet were always aching. I do feel that someone would come in and look after her feet, either massage her feet, or I feel like a chiropodist is coming in to look after her feet or look at her feet. Okay. I'm also getting the name, it sounds like Val or Valerie, that links into her as well.
I feel that she was a mother.
Yeah. That was my next thing I was going to say. I do feel this lady has 3 children.
Yes,
well.
I feel the children. She's referring to them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 3 children. And yeah, I want to say this lady passed within the last 18 months. I don't think she's been over in spirit that long. Also, okay. She's trying to give me a surname, the initial B, and I'm really trying to sound that out. She's trying to give me a surname beginning with initial B as well. It sounds like Borgman. Sorry if I've got that wrong. Bergman. There's something. She's trying to give me this name. She's also making me aware this lady would have had issues around the stomach area. I know with the cancer that she would have had problems with the nausea. And this is evidential.
As I draw her, it's funny. I'm seeing them. I see them young and old, and sometimes moving from young to old. I've had even the opposite happen. I saw she first presented me as young, youthful, healthy, and I feel there's a message in that. That is how she is now, not suffering, feeling wonderfully. But I do feel that she did die. You'd mentioned she died older, correct? Correct,
yeah.
Paul? Because I'm getting somebody with very gray, maybe even white hair.
Yeah.
All right. And, having somebody take care of their feet like that indicates diabetes. So that's quite possible. So
there's also a gentleman that comes in alongside her, and I know he would have had really old tattoos. It feels again there's an anchor connection with the tattoo. So again, whether this gentleman had a Navy connection, I don't know. Okay. I also keep hearing the name Flo, but I feel the name Flo was a term of endearment. So guys, if you understand this maybe for you, please come in and say hello, because we'd like to bring these lovely people through properly.
now she liked to be well kept, her hair curled, done up. She liked to present herself, well dressed. When she was healthy, I feel that as she aged, that changed a little. But I feel that her children. Do you feel daughters, Paul? Because I
do feel children.
I feel that they tried. Yeah, they tried their best to keep her going. In that regard, made sure, because they knew that that's what she loved. She loved to look good. She loved to have.
Yeah.
They made buy clothes, sweaters for her, or make sure that her hair was done. Bring her to the hairdressers, whatever.
I'm also being made aware of her downsizing. She had a small apartment. I know she would have been on her own before she passed.
Yes, I feel that too.
Yeah, I'm also getting the name Jane that connects into her as well.
But she was well loved and well.
Yeah, I do. See, I don't know if you feel this, Monique. I feel 2 daughters and a son.
I do feel children, and I feel daughters watching over, in particular, daughters with mom.
Yeah.
because daughters know what moms want. So
Absolutely.
they would work to keep that, give that to her until the end, as long as they possibly could. I feel that's what happened here.
Yeah. We're not having much luck tonight. No one's coming in, Monique. Hello from Australia, from Billy. Hello, Australia.
Are you getting a culture or a location?
Yeah, again, I feel British with this lady. I feel this is a British connection. I feel UK. So I've got a gentleman coming in, standing alongside her. I know this gentleman would have passed. I feel it's her. Oh, we've got somebody coming in. Not sure if they understand this information. We'll bring him in anyway. Maria. So if you can turn your camera on, Maria, or I'm just going to bring her into the stream. Hi, Maria. Can you hear us? Hello. It's been an evening of technical failures tonight, Monique.
Well, I guess it's the, you're under a storm. Coral was under a storm.
Yeah, so we've got Maria coming. I'm not sure if she can hear. We've got Asia, Taylor. I'm not sure if Asia. So I'm just going to drop Maria out for a sec and see if. Hi, Asia. Do you understand this information? No, there's people dropping out all over the place.
I do feel this lady came in for her children.
Yeah, absolutely.
With huge gratitude for their care and love. Yeah. There's no question about that.
But her mannerisms as well, about her feet, always taking the weight off her feet. Her feet were always giving her problems. Always giving her problems. Okay, we've got Maria trying to come in again, I think. So I'm not sure if Maria can take this. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Okay, that's absolutely fine. Don't worry. But Maria, do you understand this information? Because you've come in on the link. Hello, Maria. Can you hear me?
Well, Maria's on mute. So if she can take herself off mute, that would help.
Yeah. Yeah, she probably doesn't realize.
Oh, there she's off.
Hello, hi, Maria. Hello.
Oh.
Hello, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Would you understand the information that we've given here tonight?
No, I've just came onto it.
Okay. Would you understand the picture that you can see on your screen?
Yeah, is it like a spirit thing or not?
Yeah, sorry, you're breaking up, Maria. Sorry, we've had to take you out of the stream because we can't hear you very well. So we're not so sure. So again, we're just going to have to leave this lovely lady with whoever she belongs to. I'm starting to wonder if it's anything to do with Coral, you know, Monique.
You mean this reading for Coral?
This particular lady, possibly. Who knows?
Well, last week I did a spirit portrait with Leonard Taft, and it happened to be your was it your grandfather? Or was your
yes, it came through as my father. Yeah, absolutely. So we might as well leave this love for this lady, and I know her partner comes in alongside her as well. I'm just going to say also we need to say one other thing before we go this evening. Because we've run out of time, Monique, already.
Oh my God, you're right. Okay.
We've run out of time already. So obviously we want to thank Coral for coming in tonight. Obviously it's a shame that people couldn't take this information from this lovely lady. We will, possibly someone who may be someone who rewatches, we don't know. But this lady comes through with love and connects.
Certainly does to her.
To her children. For her children, everything. Yeah, absolutely. That's better. I can see you now, Monique. That's great. Okay, just one other thing before we say goodbye. we just want to wish Helen a happy birthday.
Yes.
She's giving me the evil stare. So I know she's only 21, so it's fine. It's not a birthday. If only you guys could see what Helen was doing to me right now. So
Helen is the lovely lady behind the scenes, making sure, talking to our guests, recruiting guests, people who love to come on this show, doing the graphics. It's unbelievable amount of work she does here, just for the pure passion of it. So we're very grateful for that, Helen, honestly.
Absolutely. Yeah, we do. We can't thank you enough for all the hard work and commitment you put into Spiritual Talk. So thank you and happy birthday to you, Helen. Yes. So that just brings us up for another week. This time next week, we have, our guest next week, Monique, I believe. He's a West Ham fan, which we can forgive, I think. Okay, but we have the Mr. Michael Ivers.
Michael Ivers, yes.
Yeah, I pronounced that right. International medium, but West Ham fan, but based in Spain.
Yeah, Madrid, I think, isn't he?
Madrid, yeah. All right for some. That's all right for some.
Yeah, and a real gentleman, really lovely person.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to interviewing him. He's a lovely man.
Absolutely. So it's just time for us to say goodbye, Monique. Yeah. And we'll see everybody next week.
Well, thank you everybody for coming.
And putting up with the technical issues that we've had.
Yeah. It happens with technology. But we're lucky we have it. We're lucky we have it.
Absolutely. So, Monique, I will see you next week.
Certainly will.
You take care, and I'll see you this time next week. Bye for now, everybody.
Bye. Bye, everybody.